Today I was remembering Nightbird, the American singer-songwriter who performed on America's Got Talent in 2021. She performed her original song, It's Okay. She had breast cancer that had metastasized to her lungs, liver, and spine while she did that song. And she had like a 2% chance of survival. When asked, she was saying, I have 2%. 2% is not 0%, and I hope and I wish people would acknowledge that. There's this other song she did. She did a cover of a song by Maverick City and Naomi Rain. It's called The Story I'll Tell. It's a beautiful song. You can check it out. It's here on YouTube. So today I was thinking about testimonies and when you should tell your testimony. The biggest practice is you struggle with something for a certain period of time, or if it's like a miraculous thing, and then you come out whole or having benefited something at the end of that, and you tell people about it. Let's say I was unemployed for 6 months. I found a job. That is a testimony. So when you tell that story at the end of the trial. And then because you survived that trial, it becomes a testimony. I had no children for 5 years in my marriage. God has blessed me with a kid. That is a testimony. I survived a war. I'm alive today. My family is safe. That is a testimony. I had no money and then I started a business. It worked out. You tell that story at the end and it is a testimony. But what if you're going through a trial that you thought would be over by now and it keeps on going? Let's say you were unemployed after you graduated. It's been 3 years and you're still not employed. It drains you when you think about no other people have this thing that is like other people are telling it a testimony. How come I am not? Or you've been chronically ill and you have nothing to, like, you want to say thank you, but there's nothing. If you tell a story too soon, what I have seen is it is not called a testimony, it is called complaining. You are complaining. And for many Christians, they're like, no, thou shalt not murmur. So you end up thinking maybe there's something wrong with you. How come God is not answering your prayers or something like that? I am drawing on the example of Nightbird because for those who know her, they know that on the 19th of February 2022, she passed on a year after her performance on America's Got Talent. She died from the same cancer that she was fighting, the same one she was happy about having, the 2%, and it's not 0%. The lessons I learned from her is the joy that she carried even through her trials. The song that I referenced, The Story I'll Tell, it said, I'll testify of the battles that we've won, how you were my portion when there wasn't enough. Sometimes instead, if you think on the macro level, if you think, no, I will only tell this story when I finally have a job, or when I finally get married, when I finally have a child, when my family is finally safe, you might find yourself never actually saying anything. And the more silent you keep about your battles, the more it eats at you, should I say. Because some trials come to negate the previous testimonies that you've been told. Let's say you had told a testimony about, I was alone for a long time and finally God answered me with a partner. I am now married. That was your testimony. If 5 years from then you don't have a child, it starts negating that testimony that you had. Like for me, let's say it was very difficult as a refugee to pass through all those trials for med school. I studied for about 7 years, and then now I graduated. I was a doctor. My life was going to be so much better. And then, like 2 years down the line, I did not have a job. It negates that. I'm like, why did I even suffer? If this is all that is there, why am I putting so much faith? So, what story are we going to tell? What do I go and say? Personally, when I'm going through a trial, and then I'm in a group of people who are like like going to church is a bit irritating by then, because everyone is so happy, everyone is praising God. The songs in the hymn book are just like mocking you because you feel so down, and they're all about, no, be happy, count your blessings. It becomes difficult to do that. But one of the verses that gave me strength during those times, I'm saying that like it's past tense. One of the verses that gives me strength during those times is 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 8 to 10. Let me read it for you. 3 times I prayed to the Lord about this and asked him to take it away. But his answer was, my grace is all you need, for my power is greatest when you are weak. I am most happy then to be proud of my weaknesses, in order to feel the protection of Christ's power over me. I am content with weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and difficulties for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong. There's very few circumstances that give us the opportunity to feel the strength of the Father. There's that story about this boy who was walking through the desert with his father, and then he could see two sets of footsteps in the sand. And then later on, when he looked back at his most difficult times, he could only see one set of footsteps, and then turned to the father and said, you left me during those times. And the father was like, no, those times are the times that I carried you. So there are a lot of trials that we might find ourselves in, and we forget that God is still God through all those times. He has given you the strength. And even if you don't feel it then rely on God. It gets better. I hope it gets better. It gets better. I am putting this out there so that when I forget, I can remember that sometimes we have to choose the story that we'll tell. Even if it comes out that we're complaining, we all have different relationships with Jesus. And this is mine. It means when I'm hurting, he wants to hear about it. When I am sick, when I am tired, when I am frustrated, he has to be there for me. It is a line of communication. So when things are going wrong in my life, when things beyond my control happen, yes, motivation speakers will be like, no, you have to look at the problem as an opportunity and find a solution and stuff. And yes, you can do that. But when you're down and it's painful and you don't know what to do, he's there. It might not be the testimony you wanted. It might not come out the best solution, but he's there for you. And that means a lot. Yeah. So stay strong. Cry if you have to. Rest if you have to. But tomorrow is going to be better than today. And even if it's not going to be better than today, his grace is sufficient, for his strength is greatest when you are weak. So in those moments when you are weak, we trust God and we believe he will take care of us. Thank you. Like, share, subscribe.